Gaffy, wasn't the best performance, but how are you guys feeling this week?
We're feeling pretty good. Yeah, we're not happy with losing by 10 goals. We know Melbourne are a quality team, and we know that we made 8 changes last weekend, so it's always going to be tough. But we felt like, especially that first half, was some of the footy, and I think the fans would have seen, some real growth in certain individuals, young guys, but also as a team that we're bridging the gap between where we were last year and where we've got to go against the best teams. So our second half was pretty poor and we fell away, but definitely a few positives to take out, and another great challenge this weekend against Geelong, who look like they're back to somewhat near their best, and we've got to do a lot to not only be competitive but to give us a chance of winning.
What do you have to do?
We've got to do everything pretty well against Geelong. They're like those teams like Melbourne, like Sydney, where if you walk off with a win against Geelong, you've played really well in all facets. So I've obviously played them many times in my career and probably haven't won too many against Geelong over the years, and there's obviously been a fair few down in Geelong that haven't gone too well for us. But we're confident with where we're going. We're showing glimpses each week of improvement, but it's about sustaining it for 4 quarters, which is probably what we're lacking at the moment. And you see with really good teams and really good midfields, especially like Melbourne, they do it for 4 quarters, and that's why they're going to be up there in the top couple again this year.
Do you feel a little bit more confident knowing you play at neutral territory, not having to go down to Geelong?
Yeah, it's always handy. Yeah, I think it's a great thing for the AFL to have every game in Adelaide, and it eliminates, apart from Port Adelaide and Adelaide, eliminates home ground advantage. So, as I said before, Geelong, no matter where they're playing, are bloody tough to beat, and they've got some real experienced guys that have played a lot of footy and a lot of finals footy as well. So we need to be at our absolute best, and looks like it might be a little bit wet on the weekend, but we're confident with the way we're going that we're going to be really competitive and hopefully come out on top.
And 9 tackles here on the weekend, is that just a personnel thing, or is that something you've been working on?
We're always footballers trying to work on a few different things, and I don't think I've ever had 9 before, so definitely noticed that when I saw that Sunday night. So a combination of a few guys down on the midfield, and you need to step up in certain areas, and we've seen how good Tim Kelly's been the last 3 weeks. Has been amazing really, and we hope that he can continue his form. But a great opportunity for Jai Cully, Ruben Gibney, Elijah Hewitt, these guys that are going to be the future of our footy club. What better learning experience against the Melbourne midfield, Geelong midfield, Port coming up as well. They're learning so much in their first few games that, sometimes they're learning years of experience in a couple of games. So, they're not the finished product by any length of the imagination, but they're improving so much, they're learning so much, and we expect their improvement to continue.
How have you found building the chemistry with those younger blokes like Ginby and Hewitt, especially being one of the more experienced mids? I suppose they're sort of leaning on you a little bit more?
Yeah, a little bit, and as an older guy at the footy club, you need to step up a little bit yourself in terms of leadership, performance on game day, because Luke Shuey's not out there at the moment, Nick Nat's not out there at the moment, and you got guys down back like McGovern that are out as well. So everyone needs to step up in that sense. But it's great. You try and remember what it was like for myself in my first handful of games, and I had Dean Cox, Scott Selwood, Andrew Embley, all those guys that Daniel Kerr, all those guys in the midfield that teach you a few things here and there, and you use those lessons throughout your whole career. So trying to give them a few bits of advice while still allowing them the freedom to grow and be their own player, because the great thing about footy clubs and sporting teams that you've got so many guys with so many different strengths and weaknesses, and that's what makes team success and team cohesiveness so beneficial when everyone's going well in all aspects.
And a lot of those younger boys too playing big roles against Melbourne on the weekend, now against the Cats. Do you feel like those blokes having that test against those big matchups can maybe fast track their development in a way?
100%. Yeah, they're learning so much. They're learning, Ruben's learning what he's really good at, what are the things that he can keep working on to become an A-grade midfielder eventually, which I have no doubt that he will be. But also, playing near guys like Clayton Oliver and Petraka and Dangerfield, these guys that are superstars of the competition, he's got all the attributes to become one of those players in a few years' time. And he's a great athlete as well. He runs a very good 2K time. He's an endurance athlete as well as being a super strong guy coming into the system at 18, 19. So yeah, him and Elijah have got great futures at our footy club, and this is a great opportunity for him and for those two and other guys to show their wares and to improve every week.
Harry Edwards looked to be moving freely this morning. How important of an inclusion would he be, given how undersized you were on the weekend?
Yeah, it would be massive for us. Yeah, he's obviously without McGovern down back, we're probably a little bit smaller on the weekend, and obviously Geelong have a few big guys that are as big guys up forward that are as probably the two best key forwards in the competition really. So if Harry's fit, I'm sure he'll be ready to go. And yeah, it's sort of a bit of a juggling act with a few guys at the moment. Obviously, we're a little bit short in the key men department on the weekend, but hopefully a couple of guys back next week, and then within the next couple of weeks, a few more guys as well. So yeah, we had a tough one against Freo last week with losing 7 or 8, but we feel like the guys in there at the moment are performing pretty well, and with other guys ready to step in.
You mentioned the Geelong forwards. Obviously, Jeremy Cameron is in a really good streak of form. What do you look when you're looking at his matchup?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best player in the competition at the moment. So whoever's on him is going to have a pretty tough day. No doubt whoever's on him needs a bit of help from everyone. So whoever's got that job, I'm sure we'll be told later in the week and all that. But yeah, I mean, him and Hawkins are, I said before, probably the two best key forwards in the competition. And yeah, if we can minimise their impact somewhat, they're going to have impact on the game. But if we can minimise that, we're every chance.
You mentioned Tim Kelly earlier, in a good streak of form himself. Positive for you to see?
Oh, he's been unbelievable, Tim. Very, proud and happy with how he's played these last 3 weeks, and really stepped up. And yeah, I think his whole pre-season form has been like that. And we all probably didn't have a great one in round one, but the way he's responded has been quality. And he's a quality player, and up against his old team this weekend, I'm sure he'll be the exact same. So yeah, he provides so much hard work and bursts through the middle, and he's been really good these last 3 weeks.
How do you stay in it for the 4 quarters?
Experience, concentration, fitness. We feel like as a team we're as fit as we have been for a long period of time, and so much of it is concentrating for the whole 4 quarters. You can switch off for little periods, and you see good teams like Melbourne kick 5 goals in 5 minutes, and suddenly the game's gone. So that's a big one for us, and I think we are taking small steps. We're definitely not happy with losing by 10 goals at all to a quality team. We pride ourselves on being better than that, but yeah, more periods in games where we're having dominance, and we felt like in that first quarter especially we could have been level, if not a couple of goals up at quarter time. We just probably didn't make the most of our chances. So that's something to look at in a positive sense, but also find ways to practice and improve in training to make sure we do make the most of those opportunities, and suddenly be 2 goals up at quarter time as opposed to 2 goals down.
As a senior player, do you feel any more pressure to stay in it and stay focused for those 4 quarters?
Not so much. You probably have more of a responsibility to make sure that the younger guys who naturally, when you are 18, 19, you switch off, and under fatigue, that's pretty easy to do with whatever you do. So yeah, it's our responsibility to make sure that communicate with these guys, make sure they're alert, because whether you're 18 or 30, there are times where you just switch off under fatigue, and it's our job to keep the young guys going, and to keep them on their toes. Yeah.
What was the message from the coaching staff after Sunday's game? I mean, that 3rd quarter, probably the big difference there, but those other 3 terms seemed to really be in the contest.
Yeah, second half we felt like we were holding up the forward a bit. Our backs did a pretty good job at maybe not letting it be a few more goals worse than it was. Yeah, we took a lot of positives from the first half. Definitely that first quarter, as I said before, we took a lot. Just a few missed opportunities going forward. That synergy between the midfield and forward line was probably lacking a little bit on the weekend, so we'll work on a bit of that. But yeah, that fine line between positives, but also we've got plenty to work on. Obviously, we're not happy with where we are at the moment.
Just one last one from me. Obviously, still a lot of the week to go, but we saw Bailey Williams and Jake Waterman take it a bit easier training today. If he was needed, do you think Harry Barnett would be ready to go?
Not too sure. Harry's had a few sort of injury niggles, I think, over the pre-season, and just starting to find his feet playing full games of footy. So I think he definitely played on the weekend at the Waffle and did really well. So yeah, he's a possibility. Obviously, still pretty raw and new as most young ruckmen are. So yeah, he's a chance. But Harry as well, you know, being a tall guy and probably a little bit more experienced, that'll be a bit of a call.
And how's your own body feeling after 4 rounds?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I thought quite a bit's happened in 4 rounds. Obviously not ideal, you know, round 3, you know, you're playing, you know, second half without a bench. It's just the way it happens sometimes. But no, I think we're all, you know, feeling pretty good this week. I don't think anyone's sort of gone down this week, which is a big positive for us. So yeah, we're feeling good, ready to go, but always keen to improve and get better. So hopefully good performance on the weekend.
Over the last couple of weeks, you appear to be kind of playing more of an inside role as well. Is that something discussed pre-season or to do with the personnel you've got?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit to do with the situation with a few mids going down. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love being around the ball, and you know, I love working with the younger guys. Great thing about our younger guys is they're so keen to get better, and they take on older guys' advice, anyone's advice, and that's really what, you know, as a young player at our footy club, we love guys that are so keen to learn and get better, and we've struck gold with a lot of our young guys, especially this year. So yeah, it's exciting playing with those guys, and as they grow with confidence and experience, they'll start to take over in a few years' time and be the main ones in there, and that's what's exciting for the footy club at the moment.
Anyone in particular that you're super impressed with?
Oh, Ruben's probably the main one at the moment. He'd have to be number 1 in the tackles in the comp, or, you know, he wouldn't second or third or something like that. But I think he's got a great blend, as I said before, of, you know, strength. Every young guy that comes into the AFL these days is pretty ripped and ready to go, and it's a bit different to when I first started. But he's also got that balance of being quite quick and really good endurance. So yeah, I mean, he's got all the attributes to be, you know, 200, 300 gamer for our footy club, and yeah, he's very exciting.